Night draped itself across the North Atlantic like a curtain of black glass. The sea was deceptively calm, a deadly, windless, moonless mirror that conspired against visibility. The RMS Titanic, the colossal symbol of industrial might and human ingenuity, cut through the dark water. This immense vessel, a creation costing millions and brazenly marketed as practically unsinkable, was sailing at an almost reckless pace for a ship in those latitudes. This speed, driven by the ambition of its owners and the confidence of its captain, was the first fatal flaw in the myth. The subsequent British Board of Trade inquiry would later definitively confirm that the ship was operating at approximately 22.5 knots, a near maximum speed. This decision was maintained despite receiving clear and repeated navigational warnings. 6 distinct telegrams detailing the presence of heavy pack ice and numerous large bergs had been transmitted throughout the day. At 11:40 p.m., the sudden, desperate ringing of the lookout's bell, 3 sharp peals, and the cry, "Iceberg right ahead," split the silence. The warning, however, came a mere 37 seconds too late. Crucially, the final critical warning from the nearby steamer Mesaba, detailing the exact limits of the ice field, was never even delivered to Captain Edward Smith on the bridge. This act of gross complacency, documented and validated by both the official reports, irrevocably sealed the fate of over 2,200 souls. First Officer William Murdoch immediately executed a hard turn to port and threw the engines into full reverse. But the colossal inertia of the 46,000-ton hull meant the outcome was inevitable. The meticulous official inquiries documented that the collision caused the steel plates to buckle, separate, and yield along the lines of the rivets. It was not the direct head-on impact that proved fatal, but a seemingly benign blow along the starboard side. This resulted in a series of tiny, catastrophic breaches below the waterline. The water was pouring across 6 forward compartments. The ship's proud design allowed her to remain afloat with only 4 compartments flooded. With water rising in 6, the prognosis was immediate and terminal. The unsinkable ship had only 2 hours left to live. Below the elegant decks, the catastrophe was now undeniable. Yet above, a different kind of failure unfolded, one of logistics and fatal protocol. The great ship carried only 20 lifeboats, a capacity legally satisfying obsolete maritime regulations, but tragically insufficient for the 2,224 souls aboard. This shortage was profoundly compounded by confusion and inexperience among the crew. The process of lowering the lifeboats became a heartbreaking spectacle of mismanagement. Officers, fearing that the davits could not withstand the strain of a fully loaded boat and strictly adhering to a rigid interpretation of women and children first, failed to maximize their capacity. Lifeboat 7, meant for 65, departed the ship with less than half that number. The United States Senate inquiry, spearheaded by the determined Senator William Alden Smith, would later provide scathing condemnation, confirming that hundreds of viable spaces were wasted. This tragic combination of mechanical fear, human error, and the passenger's own disbelief that the unsinkable could possibly sink sealed the fate of countless individuals. By 1:10 a.m., the ship's angle was becoming acutely pronounced. On the A-deck promenade, the ship's band, led by Wallace Hartley, maintained their performance. They played lively ragtime tunes at first, a desperate psychological effort to maintain morale and an illusion of normalcy. As the water encroached, their repertoire shifted to solemn hymns, culminating in what many survivors believed was "Nearer, My God, to Thee." Their decision to play until the end was a singular, heroic act of courage in the face of imminent doom. The artificial distinctions of class, the immense wealth of John Jacob Astor, and the humble status of the immigrants dissolved as the cold salt water began its inevitable work of leveling everything it touched. As the time neared 1:45 a.m., the atmosphere transformed from urgency to visceral, shared terror. Chief Officer Henry Wild began firing the final distress signals, blinding white rockets that flared desperately into the black, starless sky every few minutes. Visible on the horizon was a crucial silent witness, the SS Californian. The official inquiries would dedicate intense scrutiny to this tragic oversight. They confirmed that the Californian's wireless operator, having worked long hours, had shut off his set and gone to sleep minutes before the Titanic's collision. Their unforgivable inaction, despite being positioned within miles of the disaster, was cited as a direct and critical factor in the high fatality rate. The Titanic was now groaning audibly, the colossal, unprecedented stress on the structure becoming unbearable. The physics of the sinking demanded a structural failure. The lights flickered once, then twice, failing permanently at 2:18 a.m. This darkness plunged the final 1,500 souls still aboard into a profound, terrifying void. At 2:19 a.m., the hull failed violently, fracturing the structure between the third and fourth funnels. At 2:20 a.m., the great liner vanished. The stern section plunged vertically into the abyss. 1,500 individuals were violently cast into the icy grip of the North Atlantic, where the water temperature registered a deadly -2 degrees Celsius, 28 degrees Fahrenheit. The tragedy's immediate aftermath birthed the fundamental pillars of modern maritime law. The International Convention for the Safety of Life in the Sea, SOLAS. This global treaty mandated 2 non-negotiable, life-saving rules. Every passenger vessel must carry more than enough lifeboats for every single soul aboard, regardless of the ship's size. And all ships must maintain a 24-hour wireless watch. When the rescue ship Carpathia finally arrived at 4 a.m., the sea was calm again, leaving behind only the cold silence and the haunting truth.